Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. I'm Ioana Ploieșteanu. I'm coordinating product marketing for Tradeshift, and I will be your host today. It's my pleasure to introduce to you our speakers, Senior Product Manager Anca Andone. She has a lot to show you today. She will do a demo of the reporting and analytics app and will show you tips and tricks for ready-made dashboards and reports. She will also show you how to efficiently use Q for insights in just a few seconds. Q is the conversational AI we have embedded in the reporting and analytics app. Then she will move to showing you the premium version and how to customize dashboards and reports, as well as how to use data stories and scenarios. Then we have our CPTO, Rafael Bres, who will show you his favorite parts of the app and will also walk you through our AI vision. Before I hand it over to our speakers, I wanted to let you know that we launched the Reporting and Analytics app this year in June during London Tech Week. Our Director of Data Science, Robert Iordache, which you can see here in the picture, together with our partners from Amazon Web Services, was present at the event and demoed the Reporting and Analytics app and also answered questions from the audience. He has joined us today as well, so he can answer your questions together with our speakers. And if you have any questions, please use the Q&A section that you will find at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And speaking about questions, at the end, we have a couple for you as well. So please take 30 seconds when the webinar finishes to let us know your opinion about the session today. It will just be 3 feedback questions that will appear on your screen. So enough from me for now. Anca, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Ioana, and welcome everyone. I'll share my screen. Chrome. And just to share a couple of details about user access. So for the new analytics app, we have 2 views, a standard one and a premium one. For the standard view, there's a free user license enabled per master account. That free license has a reader role attached to it. Readers can basically consume the data that is available, the standard reports and dashboards, use Amazon Q, as Ioana mentioned earlier, download the data without limitations on volumes or number of lines to be included in the CSV or Excel file, and also consume the data stories that have been created by authors. In case more reader licenses are needed, this is possible. It can be enabled. There are packages of 10 extra licenses to activate. For this, the recommendation is to reach out to your customer success manager for details. Now, for the premium setup, we have 20 readers and 5 authors, and the authors can do the same as the readers, plus to build new reports and or customize existing ones. And also, what's the most critical part, to have access to the data sources, the same data sets that we are using for the standard reporting. For this as well, the recommendation is to reach out to the customer success manager. There's a specific setup from that needs to be done by the data engineering team. Customers get access to their own data in a custom namespace, 100% secure access without being able to see other customers' info, and vice versa. All right, and then I'll jump to the demo. I have for this demo, I have for the standard view, there's a sandbox account that to test data and test user. What a reader will be able to see is our reports, dashboards, and analytics for a couple of major topics. So information and metrics regarding documents, users, connections, or supplier onboarding data, as well as workflow. There's also a dedicated dashboard and report for the purchase order lifecycle. The dashboard contains what you're seeing on the screen, contains various graphs, visualizations, aggregated metrics, as well as graphs that allow a deep dive for specific data points. And the report is actually the tabular view that contains the raw data, the data that can be further explored and can be downloaded and added into an internal BI tool on customer side for further reporting. What I also want to share with you for the standard view and standard access, what we recommend to all our customers is to assign the free license to a person that has an admin role assigned on the Tradeshift platform. And why is this important? Is because an admin, as defined on the platform, will be able to see data across the entire group. So the data aggregated for all branches, or a group of specific branches, or at individual level. But it's important to have someone with the right role, with the admin role, to see everything at aggregated level. And then that person will switch hats and fulfill different reporting needs from executive teams or operational teams. In terms of the tips and tricks that Ioana mentioned earlier, first thing that I wanted to share with you, here is the option as an admin. I can select the branches that I would like to check. There's an option to select and deselect all. As you can see in my test account, I have more than 80 branches, and I can select and deselect. In terms of filters, and you can see the data loading in real time. In terms of filters that I can use, the date, I can change the date, and then maybe like this, or I can just go manually and change it. You'll see that the information gets updated in real time. Also, in terms of download, what are the options for this? Data can be downloaded at graph level, so you'll be able to see this option here to export to CSV. I'll click on it. I'll also get an update, and then the option to save to a different folder, cancel. Then I have an option to maximize a graph. If a deep dive is needed, I can just spend a couple of more seconds on this graph. I can analyze it, see if it makes sense or not, and then I can go back to the default view. Also, what is worth mentioning is that for certain dashboards and reports, the tabular view, there are also additional tabs added, and I'll share this. I'll show to you this. And these additional tabs, so you'll see that there's a default view, a page that contains multiple graphs, and then additional tabs that will have a specific focus. And in this case, we have metrics dedicated to workflow aging. And aging can be calculated in minutes, in seconds, minutes, hours, and days. And you'll see here that I can select which one is more relevant for the analysis. And this information can be combined with the internal SLA data. So if, let's say, there's an SLA defined for 10 days to process, document an invoice in the workflow, this is a good place to come and see what is the aging, how many days has a document spent in workflow, and what is missing, an approval, is there an error in the system, and so on. Is there any tasks to do or to look at? And yes, that's about it in terms of the general view. Then if we move to Q, I'll just show to you here. This is the bar on top of the page where you can ask a question, and you'll see that we should have a history. Once I run this query, we will see these questions shown up in history. And then I can check in the current month. If I don't want to see data only for 8 days, then I'll say in September. Right, and then I'll ask Q. and until it fetches the data. It takes a little bit more than 30 seconds to run. There's a high volume of data to process and millions of lines to check and data points. So I'll move to another tab where I've already run the same question. Here you'll see that in case a queue does not recognize all the metrics and all the information, then it will show to the user how it interpreted the question. And what I have prompted here, it will have an equivalent that is run by queue. And this is basically an adjustment, and it takes a little bit of exercise to get familiar with how queue works. And also one more critical point to remember here is that queue works with the internal data that we have on the Tradeshift platform. It will be a different approach compared to what you're used to when comparing to ChatGPT or Gemini or any other AI assistant, because these can go to external sources, while Q remains inside the platform and works with the data sets and the metrics and the data points we offer to it, right? So the data that we train it with. And what Q will also allow the users to do is to change the type of the graph. I'll just show to you. This one, I don't necessarily like it, so I can use a vertical bar chart. Okay, it looks different. It's better for me. I like it more. And I can also pin this graph because I've made the changes, the visualization changes. I like the information and I can pin it. Why is it important to pin and use the pin board? And this is because I'll just show to you how it looks like. The pin board collects all the graphs that you have basically saved in one place, and you could have two graphs from questions that were related to documents. You can see here unique number of document number, and then another graph combined from and taken from a question that was raised related to supplier onboarding and connections. And if I click on the magnifying glass, you'll see how awesome this is. It will take me back to the question that I've raised and prompted, and I can revisit all the information that maybe I've forgotten, and maybe I want something else from this question and this answer. And I'll pin this as well. New pin. All right, and at the same for Q at graph level, there's this option to export to CSV or to view the explanation of the graph. What are the data points that have been considered for answering. Now, then this is for the standard view. I'll switch to the premium view just to check if you're able to see this. No. Quickly go to this. Okay. And for the premium view, as I've mentioned, 20 readers and 5 authors. And authors will be able to build new reports and customize existing ones. This is possible in 2 views. The embedded, where the user stays on the platform. This is just a question of familiarity and preference. So there's this option, same options that you'll see the menu, favorites dashboard, favorite dashboards, analysis, data sets. So it's a familiar and similar experience as in QuickSight. So it's just a question of what the user prefers. Or, so we stay on the platform, or we log in and we open QuickSight. And this is where we get the full experience of what is available in QuickSight. The embedded view has certain limitations in terms of UI and how information is presented. But here is just the same view that we have, the data engineering team. And to show to you how to customize an existing dashboard, I'll just use maybe the workflow. Yes, workflow. This one. All right. The option to customize starts with the option to save as, and I'll click on this button. So you'll see it will automatically tell the user this will be saved as a new analysis, and say to create a new analysis from the dashboard, it will be saved in your list of analysis. And I can say test date, October, save. And I start my analysis not from a whiteboard, but from the existing data. And I can, maybe I think that there are certain graphs that are not relevant for me or for my team, BI team, I can delete. Same for this one. And I can also add new filters. Maybe whatever I have in the standard view is not relevant to me, and then I can add another filter, and I can say I want aging, and here aging, and for aging maybe we will add a control on top of the sheet. Test 0, it goes from 0 to 100, and there's a step, and I'll add this. Where do I see it? It's here, and I can play with it. I can also type in, and the data will automatically update. So this is, and then of course, this is the analysis. Let's say this is the final version of my analysis, and I want to, as a mandatory step, to make this available to my team. There are two steps actually. One, publish. So the analysis will not automatically turn into a report or dashboard unless I actually publish it, and you'll see it here. I have this option, publish dashboards as new or to replace an existing one. And I say before this demo, we can say October 8, and I can also write, and I allow the topic to know about this, the Q topic to know about this, and I'll publish the dashboard. And this is how it looks like with my changes. It will be moved automatically to the dashboards folder. To create, and now to go back and say, I need to simplify or just keep a couple of metrics available for reporting. Maybe it's something simple, or maybe I need to rearrange the information, and then I need to start from the data source, or maybe add calculated fields on top of what is already available. And this is possible if we start from the data set. And I'll go to the document header. No, not this one. This one. I'll use this in my analysis. I'll select, for this demo, I'll select an interactive sheet. Why we're doing this is because this is the format that allows us to add graphs, to have a different way of visualizing the data. There's a flow, there's a specific way of consuming the data as readers as well as authors. Pixel Perfect is something different. It allows users to manage high volume of data in a multi-page, highly formatted document. So it's less about visualizations, it's more about consolidating and putting high volumes of data together. And I'll just, for this, I'll select an interactive sheet. And maybe I want to count document, let's say document type, to add a dimension, and total amount in USD. And I have already a chart, pie chart, and then a donut chart, and then maybe I would like to add a pie chart. So maybe I'll also want to see the document type, document source, as multiples, and maybe as a value to use again the amount in USD. So similar information, but visualized in a different way. As mentioned earlier, we need, that's a mandatory step, to publish report, new dashboard, replace an existing ones. I'll say document test. And here it is. And so this is the kind of freedom that an author has. And this is possible without the intervention or the support from Tradeshift, from the data engineering team. There's also an option to consult the community on QuickSight side if there are questions. So there's a lot of flexibility and freedom in testing. There's nothing to crash, nothing to go wrong here. You can only see the positive impact and the positive outcomes. And then to switch, I'm mindful of the time, to switch to the final point that I wanted to show to you today, data stories and data scenarios. What is really awesome, and I'll just to pause here and to reflect on how this has helped me as well in my work. Stories, data stories, it's so important to present the data in a way that is digestible and it is targeted to a specific audience. So let's say if I want to address an executive team, or maybe I want to address an operational team, to just get them through a flow and maybe show progress, or maybe raise red flags, or to say where we can contribute as a team. And maybe I can show the workflow, and there are so many instances where a story makes it easier for myself and my team and my audience to understand what is the data that we have, how does this help us in the work that we do, what are the insights that we can get, and everything, and what is the outcome, what are the next steps that and the issues that we need to fix, and then what to do next. We use this flow to arrange our thoughts and maybe reach a conclusion. And then I'll just go with it. Story, and paste it here. See here. Same, add visuals. This is about invoices. It's about document header, information that is available in document header. So I'll use this one. And I'll select which graphs need to be included in my story. Maybe this one, and this one, and build. And while we'll leave QuickSight to work its magic, I have another tab prepared for this. Again, it takes a little bit more than 30 seconds to, it takes more than 30 seconds to run the analysis and publish the story. And this is how it looks like. We have a visual, and there's an introduction, there are graphs added, there's text, we can add extra info here. If this is not enough, then what is that one of the most awesome things that I also use in the data stories is that I can add an image, and I can add an image with the graph, with extra analysis that I have done on my internal deck, or I can add an infographic. I can add a design made perhaps with FigJam or with Figma and saved as an image, and I can input it here in my story and just connect maybe user, UX, feedback, data, and insights, just to help the entire team to get to understand understand the topic. And then preview, and to be able to share it with my team, this is the next step, to share it. In this particular case, it's not working for me because I have a test user. Right, and for scenarios. this is one of the newest features available in QuickSight. What I really like about it is that it offers unlimited possibilities. And I'll just go there and create a scenario. Again. All right, so I'll put this one. And I thought about what scenarios to show to you. And this is based on feedback that we have received from directly from the customers when we had demos for the new analytics app, as well as from the customer success team. And it's related to supplier onboarding. So we say that, and this is my scenario, I want to see the number of active connections with other parties, as in suppliers, seller, vendors, has evolved in 2025 compared to last year based on the connection status, as I want to channel a more significant portion of my purchasing through the Tradeshift platform, capture and manage the vast majority of the spending, and of course, maximize control, compliance, and saving. This is my scenario. And then I have different options. What's really, really, really helpful in the scenario case is that I can add information that is available internally on customer in my internal deck or in an Excel or in a CSV. And so I can enrich the information that I have available in QuickSight, and I can combine what I have in the reports, like already created, customized, plus the internal data that I can feed it in here. In this case, I will not select one. And I can choose another. So maybe here I'll put connections. As opposed to stories, where we need a more visual, a flow, a more approachable way to the data. For the scenario, it's really important to give, in this setup, to give access to the raw data. So we would advise in this particular case to use the tabular view, the historical report, and I'll select this one, add. It will take, again, a little bit of time, and then I'll show to you how add data. Oh, it works. This is my source, the report. And in this scenario, I still can ask question, what is the difference? I can still add information. And then as I'm getting information and I'm reading, then I can go and move to the scenario A and then scenario B. What if I do something and I would change the number of transacting to requested connections? And you'll see how QuickSight will tell you step by step how it looked at the data, step 1, step 2, step 3. At the end, there's a conclusion. In scenario A, that would result, whatever I had planned, would result in a modest but meaningful 4.5% increase. I move to the scenario B. I say that, what if we could convert half of the non-transacting connection to transacting this year, even if we have still only 3 months left? How this will impact us. Again, step by step, QuickSight will tell you what it did, and at the end, the conclusion, this conversion would significantly shift your connection portfolio with transacting connections, becoming the overwhelming majority at over 80% of all connections. Intuitively, as an user, I would go with scenario B. But what if I would like to add another scenario, maybe scenario C, and then combine all the information, and I can share this with my team, and my team can also share inputs. And this scenario can always be updated. You'll see it saved. It can be updated and can process additional and extra information as we're going along and we're growing, and our information and our knowledge of certain things increases. And yes, last point to share is that with this option, you'll see in real time the changes that the Amazon team is implementing on QuickSight site, and it's a real-time update, and you'll get to see the benefits and have the benefits that we have on the data engineering side, and you'll get proficient at creating dashboards and reports. And that's it. I'll stop sharing and I'll let the floor to Rafi. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Anka. I'm going to open also the designer, and then we will go back to some content in the slides just to show again to users and customers how to use QuickSight. So, all right. So again, we for the author licenses, then you get, the full desktop version. I mean, desktop, this is obviously in the browser, but then you have the full real estate, on the screen. So we created, very quickly those metrics. Imagine someone coming in your team doesn't know the demographics of your transaction on P2P, just to get, some quick metrics, the volumes. Here, the ability to use advanced visualization. So here I'm using, Sankey. We will see it in the dashboard. So this is the buyer country, and this is the seller country. This one is in volume, in total US dollar converted, and this one is in number of documents. We can tell obviously that what's happening there is you may have very few transactions in Colombia, but they are actually very large amounts. So this is demo data. So of course, but at least you can tell on those two comparisons, this one on volumes, this one on number of documents, some of the things. That will be verified as soon as you convert this into a geospatial. And usually what you will do, if you have the right filters, you will just duplicate first your visual within the sheet, and then you can convert here, changing the visual and moving to a GeoMap. Okay, so those are super easy. I can publish even on the properties of those maps. If you don't like this layout, you can change, and get into a different layout depending on how you want to visualize the data. And I think they have added, very nice type of base map. And you can zoom in, zoom out, and then you will lock the zoom when you enter the dashboard, but then you can still navigate within the dashboard. Things that I really like and I spend a lot of time, in my career to manipulate those BI tools is the fact that you have tabs here, but when you define a filter, so let's go to a filter here. I selected only documents received, and to make sure that they are payable invoices coming in, to make sure that there is no outbound traffic there. But if you want to add a filter, like for example, here, we would like to see only the transaction since 2024. So I will go there, I will select the created date. I will just say after, let's say after, so we can pick the calendar. I go in 24. And let's take even including, I'm going just to take the January 1st. And here it has already included the first date. So when we apply, it's going to refilter the data just on those 2 years. But then you can take this filter and say, I want to apply it to this entire tab. So you just have to click here. And now what you will see is the same filter will be applied to every single metrics on this page. You have also the ability to share it across multiple tabs where you will have different metrics. And as you're adding the tabs can use different data sets. So you can have a tab on users, you can have a tab on document header, like the one I was using in front of you. And then the way it looks, in the product, so the user, the read-only, will go into the dashboard. And here we can ask, again, so let's put, for example, you want to know the monthly amounts. I'm going to put USD, so it is converted in France. You don't have to put, I think, much more. And in 2025, okay? So monthly amounts in USD. So of course it's euro converted in USD. And you so basically here, you don't need to know the data model. You don't need to know that in fact, in France, we mean buyer branch in France. So here is going to give you the breakdown only for, so it takes some time, but you need to understand there is some Gen AI technology behind to get into this. He has put the filters. I did put 25. He understood that he has to take from year to date. He did spot, this drop. This is demo data. Obviously, there is a huge drop and he's saying it here. And as Anka was saying, we can always change and move here to a chart bar. Okay, so he's going to recompute this, and this is the type of technology that I was expecting for a long time, is the ability to ask natural question without knowing the technical name of the field. So here is buyer branch country name. This is the equivalent. Here he did look at the created date. Then here he did look at the USD amount field. And to verify this, you can go in the dashboard, in the designers, in my discovery. Right here, and just to verify here, that was the field that he was able to map based on the natural language. There is a way you can add also synonyms. So if when you say in France, you can say it means buyer. You can specify, some typical language we use in the question, and you can map them as synonyms if Q is not able to map with them. So I'm going to stop there. So the Q and what Anka demonstrated to you with the stories and the scenario, they are using Gen AI. Just wanted to remind our customers that this is not the only area where we use AI. We are adding AI and improving AI throughout all the products. So here you have a screenshot, but let's go through some of the things that we are doing ahead. So when it comes first to reporting analytics. In the next 2 quarters, and we are calling also for beta customers who can give us some input, we are going to release the first anomaly detection report. That will be a combination of existing metrics. If you go into the workflow dashboard and data set, you will see that you can identify already anomalies in terms of process. Then you have also anomalies that can be fraud, but the first one that we are going to focus on is everything that is going to reduce or is going to be in the way or doing straight through processing, touchless invoices. So those are approval pending, and this will be identified here. Soon you will be able to schedule reports. We are testing it. We don't have an exact date when we are going to release it, but this is coming. We are committed to deliver it to our customers. This is again, delivering a full functionality, a full, BI infrastructure, the most modern. This is based on columnar storage in memory technology. This is Redshift, the database of Amazon Web Services, with the layer of Q, and you can tell the conversational AI is an advance. So we are into our industry, so our competitors, we are, from my opinion, I think #1 in reporting analytics now. It's a big frog leap from where we were at on Insight Center. And just to finish on Insight Center, we want to provide to our customers Spark functionality. So we are looking also for customers who are interested to work with us on the BFR. So we want to have the report ready. This is coming soon. But just to let you know the additional things we are doing on reporting analytics. Moving on the big picture on AI, you see things that we have already shipped, things that we ship, since June, the new reporting analytics. But we shipped before the payment predictor report. This is for sellers. So if sellers are paying the fees, they get access, to additional functionality value. We are talking about outbound invoice and so on, but they will have a payment predictor report which is built, on advanced AI techniques, machine learning. And we have a high level of accuracy based on historical data. So that will be seller facing. And then everything that was demonstrated today is really the buyer building, some report analytics on P2P, on payables automation. And this allows our customers, sometimes they are using large ERP, and they provision a private data lake in SAP HANA, for example. Those are kind of difficult to modify, and maybe sometimes the P2P reports are not number one on the list. So this technology allows our customers to do the slicing, the dicing, even the full PDF export of a nice report with a scenario. Or you can export the CSV. Once you have the right filters, it looks good, on the screen, the report, the columns, then you can export in a CSV and you can re-import into a BI tool. So just wanted to mention, so this has been delivered. This is already in the machine. This is already delivered for our services. So what we are working next is the next version of the invoice coding. This one is we had feedback from customers that the accuracy of the invoice coding was not good on the previous version. It worked in certain type of chart of account and not in others. Here, this is a new entirely rethought engine using the latest we can in AI technology. And this is a decision tree algorithm, and we can reach to 99.5%, sometimes 100%, but way much better than the previous version. We are testing with beta customers. We would like all our customers to use this functionality that will be needed in the future to decrease again the touch point or the manual intervention on the documents. And also we will be able at some point maybe to help sellers to complete information that is missing, especially in clearance countries, because those invoices coming from the government, they don't carry business information. And this is why you will need on the top of clearance, when you download an invoice from the government in clearance countries, they can care less about the business side. They care only about the tax, okay, the VAT and all sorts of tax. So wanted to mention this document level AI suggestion. This is using Gen AI, reading, a PDF, and when you see those yellow surrounded by yellow squares, difficult to read on my screen, but basically it means that this is AI generated. The conversational AI, the queued functionality, what we know, it's Amazon has a full roadmap, so you should expect more enhancement coming next year. But when it comes to Gen AI chatbot, some of you are already aware that we ship the Ask Ada. Ask Ada for all active sellers. We are talking here active on a 12-18 months. We will have close to 250,000 users. So this has been released to everyone. This is to avoid being blocked, and we are continuously retraining this bot to be more knowledgeable. So based on the question of customers, we will add more knowledge to Ask Ada. The last enhancement we did, we shipped it in Babbleway. So if you're a Babbleway user, I don't know, maybe not IT team on the call today, but then you will have an assistant, is never tired, is always available 24/7. Ready to help on technical question. You can ask how to set up a channel in Babbleway. How do I get into PayPal transmission? So this is more Babbleway, but generative AI pretty much, everywhere in the product. So wanted to mention that. And we are hopefully, this is available already in multiple languages. If you ask a question in French or German, it will respond in the same language. Just wanted to mention, and there will be more advances. We want at some point to have the bot answering the question about where is my payment when a seller, but today, those AI, they don't touch any production data. So if we want to answer this question to those sellers, we'll have to create secured making sure that we are showing the status only for this invoice, that this is the right seller. But today, our GenAI do not touch any production data. This is product documentation, functionality, technical stuff, okay? And now we are at the time of the Q&A, so I'm going to switch to Joanna, and I know, Joanna, you have also a couple slides behind, so let me know when I need to switch.
It's fine. I think I shared already my screen. I think everyone can see my screen now. Thank you, Rafi.
I'm not
Thank
sure
you,
I see your
Anka.
screen. Oh yeah, I see it. Sorry. Is that yours?
Yeah, I think it's mine.
Okay.
No worries. So thank you, Rafi. Thank you, Anka, for this comprehensive demonstration of our reporting and analytics app, as well as walking us through our AI vision and what we have what are we going to launch in the future for AI. I see that there were some questions coming in the Q&A section, and Robert answered some of them. So I'll give a couple more moments to our audience to put in their questions. In the meantime, because we were talking about our favorite parts of the reporting and analytics app, mine is for sure the Q functionality. I just believe it's game-changing to have conversational AI embedded in analytics. As I'm not a data science person, it's just so easy to be able to ask a question and not having to go through the entire process of interpreting the data or knowing some of the elements that are in the reports, as Rafi was mentioning earlier. And it's funny because the other day I was using another analytics tool, something that we use for our website, and I just caught myself thinking, oh, I wish I had the Q functionality embedded in this, because it would have saved me so much time and I wouldn't have had to go through all the reports, spending a couple of hours understanding what the data was trying to tell me. You have on your screen a QR code which you can scan, and it will take you to our latest blog article about the Q functionality. All right, I think I've left enough time for our audience to add in their questions. Let's see what we have. Okay. So there are two questions about ADA coding. One is about if we want to be beta testers, what do we have to do? Are there any prerequisites? Rafi, you want to take this one?
Yes. So making sure I'm not muted. So contact your CSM. We do have a couple of beta testers, but more the better. And then we'll be very happy to put you in contact with the product team and organize, on your own data. So to see, you will share with us sample of invoices that you want to see how ADA coding is working, and this is when we will do the test. Robert, you can add a little more, because I think we have the ability to run the new coding on the data of our customers to simulate to them what it would have been in terms of accuracy if they would have been using ADA 2.0, correct?
You're right, Rafi. We are actually went super customizable on this implementation, where we are taking the historical data of the customer and build and train a model with the customer context. That's where the 99% is coming in terms of accuracy. So prior to start the testing part, we will have to actually enable it for the data on your account, and we will build a model and we will deploy it. And then, yeah, you can use it, and you'll be able to compare the accuracy of the two models.
And there is no dependency on BFR 1.0, 2.0. I just want to make sure we are
No,
transparent with the customers.
no.
Okay.
Okay, great. Since you were talking about accuracy, I think when it comes to AI, this is one of the main topics. So there was another question related to Q. I tried Q so far and it seems to be working well, but I wanted to know how can I trust the accuracy of the answers? Robert,
Yeah.
since you are on the microphone.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, especially when it comes to making data-driven decision. You're always thinking, okay, how can I validate that these metrics or these values are the right ones to use, and there is no mistake. And the key to trusting the Amazon Q is that it's strictly limited to your data and Redshift definition of that data, and its accuracy, it's built on two main principles. One of them, it's the fact that it's grounded to your data model, and this means that we are defining some Q topics, so-called, behind the scene, where we are trying to give a little bit more context around which are the dimensions, which are the metrics, any synonyms that Rafi touched on a little bit in his presentations. Together with all this information, we have a pre-approved business logic that ensures that the queries are consistent and accurate. I'm always encouraging you to look and validate that the question that you posed is actually exactly what you meant for and the Q understood. And Anka, in her presentation, actually mentioned at some point that Q will reply back with interpretation of your question. And second, it's the transparency. When Q generates a visual, it also shows you how it interpreted the data. It's exactly what I was mentioning previously. This transparency allows you to instantly verify that it understood your intent correctly before you act to the insight. As an extra measure, if you want to be super cautious, you can always create your own dashboard narrowed to exactly your filtering and your question. And you can validate like that as well. Though I'm not recommending it is not needed, you will just waste the time. So I think of Q in QuickSight less like a creative AI, what we see everywhere on the chatbots that you have access and you maybe use it every day, but think more about a specialist in your Redshift data or a super powerful translator that will bring the answers to your questions supported by visuals and high-level data insights.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Robert. There's another question about how can we follow the BFR and Scan.io reports until they are available in the analytics app. Anka, I will give this one to you.
Yes. So these two, the information regarding BFR will continue to be available in Insight Center. And the information regarding scanning, Cloud Scan, Scan.io will continue to be available in the SLA report, partially, also in Insight Center. While we're building these reports, and we'll make them available as we progress with the validation and publish them, and as per the release calendar, you'll still have access to these two sources. And you can use both without the specific limitation. Insight Center will continue to be available for the next 12 months.
Okay. And the last question from someone who joined later, and they heard you mentioning premium and standard version. Can you recap again the difference between the two?
Or maybe we can re-put the slide, maybe.
Yep.
So there. Screen back.
Yeah.
Standard view. access to dashboards and reports that contain specific metrics, that have specific visualizations, without having the option to make changes in terms of how information is sorted or arranged on the page. The way metrics are included and what type of aggregated or calculated fields are available. Also, for the standard view, there's one free license, and that has a reader role attached. And so in the standard version, we only have readers. For the premium, we have a setup with readers and authors, and then authors can do some of the things that we've demoed today and many more, and they can build new reports, customize existing ones, have access to the data sets. Also for us, it's in the premium setup, for the data engineering team on Tradeshift side, it's much easier to cover for the gaps in terms of new metrics or calculated fields at data set, at data source level. And that's a minimum impact, minimum dependency, less effort, quicker response, and that information already available. Once it's included in the data source, in the data set, it can be immediately used by the customer. While in the standard view, if we need to build a new report, as the one mentioned earlier, anomaly detection, the users will have to wait, and the customers will have to wait.
That will be PCR, and the best is do it yourself to not limit the time. The reader role, I think we are delivering. Remind me if okay. Keep me true on this one, but I think it's 7 dashboards and the same in reports. So total is 14 or 16. I think it's this number. So all the dashboards will be populated. Obviously, if you're not using the workflow of Tradeshift, you won't. The dashboard will be empty, and there is no SOW services. We can turn it on, and then as soon as you log in, all your dashboards will be populated in read-only. So I want to mention that because this is pretty unusual in BI, that you don't have any services, SOW, to set up your dashboard. This has been the reality of most of the BI tools for the last, I don't know, probably 20 years. So just wanted to mention that on the read-only, you have access to all dashboards and all reports. The reports is the tabular version of a dashboard, but you have all the columns.
Thank you, Rafi, for adding this as well. Stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you. These were all the questions that we had for today. Before we go, if you want to stay updated on our product news and our content, these are the channels that you can follow. Our blog on the Tradeshift website, we've recently added an AI section, as well as you can follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube. And of course, you can always reach out to your customer success manager if you are interested in the premium version of the reporting and analytics app, or you want to add more standard licenses for your team. Just reach out to your customer success manager, and they would be happy to help you. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to see you in our next webinars, and yeah, have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.